Okay. Just give me a minute. I'm trying to put on my video. I don't know why. Suddenly. One is back camera. It's front camera. Okay. So can you see me? Can you hear me? Can you all hear
I
me?
can
Can you see me?
I
Yes.
can hear you.
I can
Yes.
see you and I can hear you, but I don't know how to turn on my video.
Okay, you'd see this video camera
Okay.
symbol
Mm-hmm.
on your screen.
You don't
So
have to
just
do
tap
that too.
on it.
Maybe I'm just an audience.
No, it's fine. I don't know. It's fine.
Okay. Phone screen, front
So,
camera. Voila. I can see phone screen, front camera, back camera. I should just click on continue,
front
Abby.
camera.
Front camera, okay.
Front camera. Just tap on front camera. Then you should turn on. Nana, I still haven't seen your face. Okay, I've seen someone's face. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you.
So good to see your faces.
Hello.
Wow.
Thank you.
See, it's good. It's good to see
It's not good
sunshine.
because it's not good because now I'm more nervous.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
It's fine. There's no need to be. We're all here. Yep.
For me, it's like a
So
mock
today,
exam, so I am.
then that's fine. So it's to help you prepare, like it's to help you get used to that exam scenario and all that. So it's fine. Because on that test, there's going to be like face to face. You can't escape. You have to be. You'll be seated in front of the person. The person will be seated across you. Like there's a desk. The person will be sitting across you. So something you should get used to. So how did our day go? Like, what was our day like? Okay, I think I'll start first. I basically do everything at home. 2 kids, toddlers, and all that. So today was like kind of annoying. The kids like did a couple of things, like made me shout more than I don't want to be shouting again, but kids now, toddlers, they can do funny things. Like a whole carton of milk, they spilled everything on the floor. And the thing like got the carpets at the center of the sitting room wet. So imagine, it was so annoying. But aside that, my day went well. I think that was the only thing that got me annoyed today. Aside from that, my day went well. House chores, watching documentaries online, because that's one of the things I like to do. It helps me with my vocabulary and I get to learn a couple of new things. So that was what I did today, basically. Aside mundane things, doing laundry, cooking and all that. So over to you, Nana. How was your day? How did your day go?
Fine.
Can you hear me?
My day was fine, except that I'm tired. So over the weekend, I wasn't around. I went to my hometown, and then I came back. Yes. Can you also hear me?
I can hear you now. Yeah, I can hear you.
Hello?
I can hear you. You said you went to your hometown.
Okay, so I came back very late last night. Yes, on Saturday. I came back just yesterday night. I came back tired, but this morning I had to wake up very early again because my nephew would go to school. So I took him to school, went to work. I had to close very early from work. Went back to the school to pick him up. It was almost immediately that I got home that I started seeing your messages. So I was like, oh, I beg, give me a minute. But I have to come to class too. So I'm tired, but it's been fine.
I can imagine. Yeah, I can imagine. It's not easy, right? Yeah. But it's all good. There's a goal you're working at achieving a certain goal. That's why we're doing this. So you said you went to your hometown. So I'd like to know, how was the journey? Like, where is your hometown? That was one of the questions I asked you in our last class. I asked you to talk about your hometown.
Yes.
Your hometown. So like now you said you went to your hometown yesterday, right? So like
on
tell us
Saturday.
how it was, like how
Okay.
it was.
It was fine. Like I said, I left here on Saturday. We went in a private vehicle, and my hometown, first of all, is located in the southern part of my country, not far from
Okay.
the
And
border between like
why are you now? Sorry,
I'm
why
in
are
the
you now?
city. I'm in the city. I'm in the capital
City.
city.
Where is the
Yeah,
city? Where is the
Lome.
city? Lome. Where is it? Is it in the south or
It's
the
also in
north
the
or
south. It's also in the southern part of the
okay.
country. So
Okay.
it's about 2 hours away from my hometown. I'm in the city. The capital city is about 2 hours away from my hometown. And
Okay.
it's not far from the border between Benin Republic and Togo.
Okay.
Yes. So we went there for a picnic on throughout the weekend, and it was good. It was good. We had a lot of people come around. There was plenty of food and drinks, and we had a good time in general.
Okay. So you talked about 2 hours away from Lome, the city where you
Yes.
live, which is also in the south. And then you
Yes.
also mentioned that you went by car.
Yes.
And I think there's something I can remember from last class. You also said that transportation is not easy.
Yes.
Doing a journey to another part of the country, that it was not easy.
From the south to the north, it's usually very difficult because the transportation system is still under development. You can go by public vehicle, but it's usually very convenient to go with your own private vehicle. I mean, when you're going to a very far place in Togo.
Not convenient, okay, because the bus system is kind of, how can you describe it? Like with my Nigerian mind, how can you describe what's the bus like?
We don't have buses here like we do in Lagos. We don't have those yellow buses. We don't even have buses at all. So instead of buses,
Wow.
we have cabs. Yes, we use cabs.
Wow, that's interesting.
So we have cabs that helps you move around the city. And then if you're to go all the way to the north, that's when you would take a bus. And it's usually those
Okay.
medium-sized bus. We don't have
Okay.
conductors usually, and even when they do have conductors, the conductors are not allowed to hang on the vehicle and shout for customers. They sit in the box and they stop when they see people on the road. The
Okay.
whole transport system here is quite different from what they have in Nigeria.
Okay. Okay. So I have an idea now of what transport system like is in Togo. So like in the city area in Lome, you said that it is mostly cabs that operates, that convey
Cabs
people from one place.
and bikes. I forgot to mention bikes.
Cabs.
Cabs and
Okay,
bikes.
cabs and bikes.
Yes.
Are there
So we have
tricycles?
yes, but it's not very common.
Okay.
Yes.
It's not
So
very
it's
common. You
usually
can also
just
say it's not prevalent, or it's not a common thing. It's not, or few of them. Okay. Go on.
Okay.
You wanted to say
So we have
something?
just few tricycles. We have more of bikes actually than even the cabs.
Wow, more of bikes.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, more of
What
bikes
are
than the
bikes
cabs.
called?
We have in
What
my
are bikes
here,
called?
we call them in my local language Zemijan or
Zemitan.
we
What did you say?
Zemijan. Zemijan.
Zemijan.
Yes, it's
Zemijan.
actually not yes, Zemijan is what it's
Zemijan.
called. And we now have a new meter bike, like the meter taxi. We now have meter bikes here in Togo that we call Ole.
Ole.
So when you see the bike man on an empty bike, I mean a bike that's not carrying a passenger already, you just shout Ole and they would stop and
Okay,
take you to
Ole.
wherever you're going. Yes. Unlike the other type of bike, when they stop, you tell them where you're going and then you both will negotiate the price.
Okay.
And if it's convenient for the bike man, he will then take you. But with the Ole, you don't even have to say anything. Just sit down and tell the bike man where you're going and he will take you there.
Okay. So your
Yes.
fare is measured with a meter. So when you get to your destination, whatever the meter says, that's what you're going to
Is
pay.
what you would pay. And it's cheaper than the other one, the other type that you have to negotiate. So even after you've negotiated the price with this man, by the time you take Ole, you would realize that Ole is still cheaper than the other one.
That's interesting. I was about to ask you that question, but you answered it already. I wanted to know as in the difference between the two. Which one was
Ole is
more
usually cheaper, and it's safer as well, because you can easily, if you're smart enough, you can memorize the number of the bike man. In case of any problem, you go to the head office and make your complaint, and they can easily catch the bike man.
Okay, that's innovative. That's nice. So that's an improvement for you guys. It's more like an Uber
exactly.
form of bike, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, I think there's Uber, and then there's
Go-Kada. We had something like that in Lagos, I think.
Go-Kada, yes, Go-Kada. That's after they now banned bikes in Lagos or something like that. They now have to convert to delivery bikes and all that. Okay, that's interesting. See, okay, so I decided to go this way today because I wanted you to get talking and get you to start talking about what you've experienced, because I realized that if we started in the exam setting and all that, you might become so conscious of the fact that, okay, you are practicing for an exam. And can you notice that what's the difference I noticed from the conversations we've had so far? Your network. Okay. Can you hear me? Did you hear what I was asking?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. I was saying that you realize that you've spoken, you are able to like speak for a reasonable length of time during our conversation, right? Because I realized it will help you just beginning the class in a conversation style would help you to get talking. And I just picked up what you had experienced, what you did yesterday, and got us talking. So now we've managed to talk about transportation system in Togo. Do you understand?
Yes.
And I can see that your fluency is quite good. Your fluency is quite good. Do you understand? So unlike last class where we just started and I was asking questions and we are like
I'm
kind
sorry,
of
my Etta has been showing me shaggy.
It's all right. It's all right. Good to have you back. So I'm glad that we've talked about transportation system in Togo. So I have an idea. We talked about the fact that if you want to move around in the city, you can use cabs or bikes. Those are the common means of transportation in Ghana. Sorry, in Togo. And then you said if someone wants to travel to the north, the person would have to go by bus, a kind of bus.
I can't hear.
Yeah, you can't hear.
I can't hear anything. I can only see your hand. Your hand is moving. The gesticulation, but I cannot hear anything.
But I can.
Can you leave? Can you leave and join in again?
Let me leave and come back again.
Yeah, it might be your network. So we have an idea of what transportation system is like. We've talked about means of movement in the city. There are cabs and bikes. You mentioned two types of bikes, the Ole and the local bike. You said local bike is called Zemijan. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Zemijan. Okay. And then you also mentioned you went to your hometown. So now I'm going to ask you questions about your hometown. So when you are talking about your hometown, you said you went on Saturday. It would be nice to like know, was it in the afternoon? When did you leave? You said it was a 2-hour trip from Lome to your hometown. So it would be nice to mention the name of your hometown. And then like, okay, you left in the morning at total time and you arrived at this particular time. Then I'd like to know who you went with, and the picnic. What you said there was food and all that. We'd like to know what the picnic was like. Was it like you went to a grass area, or was it in the house setting, a townhouse or a traditional house, or your family home? Do you understand? I want to understand the setting of the whole setting of that trip. So start from your hometown.
Okay. The name of my hometown is Amfoy. And like I mentioned earlier, it's located in the southern part of Togo. I currently live in the city, in the capital city, Lomé. So I left here on Saturday in the morning because I left around 10 o'clock and I left alone because I had to attend a PTA meeting in the morning before leaving for the village later that day. So I left here around 10 o'clock in the morning and I got there by 12, thereabouts. I boarded a cab here and I went there myself. The picnic that I attended, firstly, I would like to mention that when I left here, I didn't go to the picnic. I went to my village, my house, and there my aunties and extended families were there. And later that Saturday, we all went to the picnic where it's usually the festival happens. It's not in a house or a rented place. No, the picnic happens. I don't want to call it a forest, but it's usually something like a bush.
If it's forest, say it now. It's getting more interesting.
So, the thing is, it's not forest.
So now you've mentioned the festival.
Yes, it's not forest, but there are usually bushes around, and it happens right there in the bush with coconut trees around. So everybody would come and lay their piece of cloth on the ground with their food, like you would have a normal picnic anywhere. And it happens in my hometown every year. They've not had it for the past 3 years because of the pandemic. And so this year's picnic was a little bit special. They had some ministers attend the event, and I heard that on Friday they had a parade. What is it called? This thing that you would dress nicely and model, and then at the end of the day, they would pick a winner. Can't remember.
Okay, like a beauty pageant or
exactly.
something.
They had something like that on Friday, and a lady from my hometown won.
Beauty pageant contest.
And yeah, that was that about Saturday. There was a lot of music and food. Different people brought different food. We also went there with our own food, and it was just enjoyment all the way. Then later that evening, we went back home. We rested. We had a nice time with the family. On Sunday, we went to the same place again after church, and it was almost like what happened on Saturday. More music, more food, people hanging out with friends that they haven't seen in a long time. Because like I said, it's in my hometown, but then there are other communities in my hometown. So it was like gathering of all other communities under a big community, something like that. So it's a lot of people.
Okay.
And yeah, on Sunday, same thing happened, and then we went back home. And on Monday, we just rested and had family time before everybody went to their various works and houses.
Okay, that's quite interesting. Okay, yes. So I heard you mentioned the festival. You know, at the beginning when you mentioned it, it sounded like a picnic of just a few persons that maybe. So I had this imagination of you just went to like a garden area. Yeah, but so now you're like painting the bigger picture. It's more like a festival. Like you said, it's an annual thing. And that it didn't happen during the pandemic. So like this is a huge reunion for the community members, family and everything to celebrate and come together. So that's quite interesting. So you said it's a festival. So does it have a name?
It's picnic. Usually it's picnic. They just call it picnic.
Does it have a name?
The name is
okay.
Local
name.
It doesn't have a local
name. Picnic.
Instead of picnic, they would say picnicky, but it's still picnic. It's spelled picnic, but my people would pronounce it picnicky. Yes.
As per the vernacular form, as in from your native language.
Localize it in the way possible. Because in French, it's also picnic, but they would not call it the French name picnic, so they would say picnicky.
Okay. So good. Now these are the things these are the things you should integrate in your.
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes, it's okay now. Yes.
Okay. So take note of these things, like the questions I asked you to.
It's
Why is my
echoing.
voice echoing now?
Mm.
Hello.
Hello, I can hear you.
Okay,
But
I'm
it's
just
still
hearing that
echoing.
echo. Let me see. I hope I don't end this call. Let me see. I actually want to leave the video chat. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Let's just go on. I think you should mute yourself. Mute yourself. See, if you're not speaking,
Okay.
just mute yourself. Let's see if the echo will stop. So what I was saying is that these are the things you should take note of when you are doing your IELTS speaking, especially part 2. Take note of those things. The questions I was asking you, I was saying, okay, what is it called? When you mentioned how you went to the village, when you went, who you went with, the name of the event, even though it's like a local name, still tell the examiner, you say, okay, that this event is called this, then you say the name picnicky. Usually call it picnicky. It's a picnic, but this is the way we call it. And the food. Now, one thing that we are still going to talk about is the food. So you should also talk about food. Okay, that's many people came with their food, especially, for instance, I'll just say especially jollof rice and plantain and chicken, roasted meats and all that. Then drinks, we had lots of drinks. Many people came with soft drinks such as Sprite and Coca-Cola. And okay, that's just talk about the food. So these are the things you should take note of. Mention names of these different things. So not just give a summary, because it gives the opportunity to show off your vocabulary, and that is what your examiner wants to hear. Examiner wants to know that you are fluent, that you are pronouncing the words correctly, you have a rich vocabulary, then you are using the right grammar, you're using the right tenses. When you're speaking in past tense, you're actually using the right tense. When you're speaking in present tense, you're actually using present tense. So these are things to take note of. Because if you keep giving a summary of whatever you're asked to describe, the examiner will have to start asking you questions. And if you're the type of person that is nervous already, those extra questions might make you more nervous. So just imagine that you're having a conversation. See the way we started. See the way I started asking you, how did your day go? We talked about the trip you had on Saturday. And from there, I was asking questions. And so just as if we were having a conversation. So that is the mindset you should have. Do you understand? I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Because you guys are mute. I just want to show. So that is the mindset you should have when you're doing your speaking at soon. Now we are going to start. Let me start asking questions proper, because I think we've managed to talk about traveling, something like an event. What you've said now. Hello, Nana. I hope you are here. I hope you can hear me. I don't know. It seems her
Her video
network is
is
not
paused.
good. But I don't know if she can hear us. So I'm going to do a number of questions that you can have in your your speaking part 2. The speaking part 2 is the second part of your speaking test. In that part 2 of the speaking test, you'll be given a piece of paper. It's called a cue card. In that cue card, there'll be a question there. They would ask you to describe an event. It could be an event, an experience, or someone that you know. To ask you to talk about, for instance, they can say, tell us, describe a person you admire so much. Then there'll be a bullet point, probably 3 or 4 bullet points under that statement. They'll be like, tell us where you met the person, what you like about the person, what maybe how long you've known the person. So something like that. And then they'll give you another plain sheet of paper and a pencil to plan your answer in 1 minute. So the examiner is going to wait for you. Once that 1 minute elapses, he or she will then ask you to start speaking. Start talking, as in giving your answers in the space of 2 minutes. So you have to start speaking, and then you have to speak for a length of 2 minutes. So what I try to do at the beginning of this class now is to get her talking, because our first class where we did part 1 speaking questions, I realized that maybe the whole exam tension and everything, the fact that I was asking her in the typical exam setting was getting her tensed. So it was affecting her fluency. I decided to begin today's class in a conversational style, just asking her how her day went, and from what she said, I kept asking her questions, and it really helped her. So she was just speaking as if she was having a conversation, and that is what your speaking test is. That is what it really is. It's a conversation with somebody. So you shouldn't be nervous. So Queenette, can you hear me? I've been scrolling on my screen, so I don't know if it's affecting. Okay. Is my video still on?
Yes,
I don't know. Okay. So I don't know when she's going to come back in, but if she's not in, then
she's
we
here
could
already.
do.
She's here.
Okay. So have you been hearing me, Nana?
Yes.
Have you been hearing me all this while?
Yes. I had a low battery,
Okay.
so I quickly came inside to charge the phone.
Okay, that's all right. So let's do this question. Get ready. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. So describe your favorite shop. Do you have a pen and paper close by? Describe your favorite shop.
Do I have my 1 minute to think, or I should just start talking?
Yes, of course. No.
Okay.
Just, you're going to take questions. Then after that, we'll give you 1 minute to plan your answers. Queeness, you can also take notes. You can also take notes, because we'll also try out some questions with you. No, there's no use. Imagine, upon all the explanation we just did, how we started, you are scared. Scared of what again? Have you not been having conversations with people all your life? So what is there again? There's nothing there. So describe your favorite shop. You should say where it is. You should say where it is, how often you go there, what it sells. You should say where it is, how often you go there, what it sells, and explain why you think it is a good shop. And explain why you think it is a good shop.
I have a
Describe
question.
your favorite shop. Okay, go ahead.
So on the exam day, you mentioned a cue card the last time we had a class, that they would give us a
Mm-hmm.
cue card. Are these
Yes.
sub questions written on the cue card, or it's just a diagram of
Yes.
something, or one big question?
So it means you've not gone through this. I sent a link of this website, didn't I?
The reason why
Let
I
me
asked
do.
is because
I'm listening. Go
I
ahead.
checked this man's YouTube channel, and every time
Okay.
he would give them the cue card thing, and he would ask them these questions. So I
Mm-hmm.
know that, okay, but I'm beginning to worry if it's because he's just doing it on YouTube, that's why he has these questions, or this is exactly how it comes on the exam day. I just want to know.
See how it comes. I did a screenshot. Now I'm sending a screenshot to the
To the
chat.
group. Okay.
I sent a screenshot now. Can you see it?
No.
Probably networks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's probably loading. Yeah. So this
Yes.
is a
Yes.
card. Like you have a card. They'll give you a card like this, just like this. Then they also give a plain sheet of paper and a pencil to
Okay.
plan.
Yes. Yes.
So
I
I
just
think
need
I'll
to be
just be
sure that this is
screenshotting. I
exactly
think that's
how.
what I'll be doing. Okay, this is how it happens. So I think I'll
Mm,
just be sending the screenshots instead of dictating them. So you have a
mm,
feel of what it's like.
yes.
So the time is 8:42
Yes.
where I'm at now.
So by
So
43.
once is 44, let's say 44 because the 42 is already counting. So let's just say when it's 44. Once it just turns
Okay.
44, you start speaking. But if you're ready
Okay.
before that time, you can start speaking.
Okay.
Queenette, where are you? She has run away. So you can start speaking.
Okay. So the name of my favorite shop is Champion, and it's located few meters away from my house. It's a trekkable distance actually, and I go there about 2 or 3 times a week. And they sell practically everything that I need. Sometimes I go there to window shop, even if I don't need to buy anything. I just take a walk down there for exercise or for sightseeing. Maybe I just walk down to the shop and get one or two things sometimes. And the reason why I think it's a good shop is because it has more than one branches in my city. It's easily accessible, and their products are quite cheap compared to other shops around. Um, the workers at the shop are respectful and hospitable. Um, what else?
So
Can I ask a question?
it's just like
Yes.
it's just 1 minute. Okay, go ahead.
So is it
What?
is it okay to use workers or staff?
Staffs, I think is better.
And also, is it staff or
They're both.
staffs
They're
if there
both
are more than one?
staff
Staff.
covers for both singular and plural.
Oh,
So
okay.
what was the first question? The first question was workers. You can use workers, yes, or staff. But you know, there's this common thing in the Ielts. There's this concept of using synonyms or paraphrasing. So I'd encourage people to use different words. For instance, in a particular speaking session, you can decide to say workers, maybe in the first sentence. Then another sentence, you can say staff. So it would be a good way to show off your vocabulary, right? That you know lots of words and all that. So
Instructor.
that's what I can say. I think I was distracted. But did you say staff or staffs?
I said workers
I
actually.
heard workers or staff. I don't know. I was
I
kind
said
of distracted.
workers.
You
You
said,
said
and that's
workers.
fine. It's not wrong.
Oh, no, I
Okay,
wanted to
that's
know
not.
which one is better. She said workers.
Yes, because what? It, it depends on the context. Like, for instance, in a corporate, if you are talking about corporate office or something, it would be nice to use staff, as in typically, like, staff defines as the people that work in a corporate setting, right? But we're talking
Okay,
about
that's
like
what I
a
wanted
blue
to
collar
understand.
setting, maybe like artisanal settings, like a mechanic shop, a factory,
Okay.
a bakery. Do you understand? So all those artisanal setting or factory setting, it works best to use workers, right? Well, if
Okay.
it's a corporate setting, I say staff would do well. But there are some cases where you can interchange the both, right? There are some cases where you can interchange the both of them. So a good way to begin your speaking, a question like this, a good way. Now, there's no right or wrong answer in speaking. There's no right or wrong answer, so you shouldn't be that rigid. For instance, when I ask a question like this, and you do not have so much to say, like now you said your favorite shop is called Champion or something like that. Then you said it's a walking distance from where you stay from your house. Then you said you go there often, you like to take a walk there. What it sells. Now, what it sells, I don't know. You said you can find practically everything. Then you should have told us things like the things that you enjoy buying from there. You can even refer to a particular day. Oh, the last time you went there, which was last weekend or last week Thursday. You went there in the evening. You needed to buy groceries for the soup you wanted to cook, and you had to buy um these particular ingredients, which included broccoli, canned tomatoes, onions, and pepper. Then one of the things he liked about the place, he said the staff, they're friendly and all that. Another way you can answer a formula that works well with people that are not that find it hard to talk a lot. You can decide to use this method. You can begin with saying that, okay, there are, you can make up things in the speaking test. You can make up things. So you can say that you enjoy shopping, right? And that there are many shops that you enjoy going to get your things from. So you can't really say that you have a favorite shop. More like, let me start talking from, as if I'm answering test. Okay, I've actually fallen in love with a number of shops in my area. My area has variety, a number of shops to choose from. So I happen to have fallen in love with a number of them. On a weekly basis, whenever we do our weekly grocery shopping, we as a family, we find ourselves trooping from one shop to the other. these shops are actually hypermarts and big supermarkets. So they basically have lots of household items and groceries. Then we realized that we were enjoying the best prices from a number of them with respect to some items. So what we usually do is to go from one shop. We actually have particular items that we get from a particular shop. After getting those items from that shop, are you asking a question? Or is that my echo?
It was your echo.
Wow. So, okay, but I hope you can hear me. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Are you following? Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes,
okay, so we discovered that we were getting the best prices in particular shops with respect to some items. So what we usually do on a weekly basis is to go from one shop, picking the items that we found to be at the best prices at those shops. After getting them there, then we'll move on to the other shops. So at the end of the day, we realized that toiletries or cleaning, this echo is annoying me.
I don't think it's echo. I think it's from, I don't know when and I.
We are all in different locations. That's the funny thing. I'm close to Europe. She's in Togo. Yourself, you're in Nigeria. Wow. Okay, you know what? Can you guys mute yourself? Can you mute yourself? When I finish speaking, then when you want to speak, you can unmute yourself. Let's maybe it's going to be better. Okay, let me see if it's okay now. Okay, let me go on. I think it's better now. I hope you can hear me. That's the important thing. Can you just type in the chat? Can you type in the chat if you can hear me? Let me know if you can hear me from the chat. Type in the chat. Let me be sure that I'm not on my own.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So you can mute yourself again. So we'll know that we're just hearing one voice. Okay. So what I was trying to say that there's no right or wrong answer in the speaking test. They're asking about your favorite shop, right? But I went on to talk about the fact that we get to shop from more than one shop whenever we do our grocery shopping. So I think what I left out, another thing that I was saying, okay, that at the end of the day, we realized that we usually get our cleaning agents and toiletries from this particular supermarket, which is called Goodwill, and then we get our groceries from another called, let me look for a name, called Ebano. I think Ebano is a popular supermarket on the island, right, in Lagos. So this is something that you can do. For instance, this is not our experience as a family. We shop from a big hypermarket as in 2 times in a month, right? But see, and this is something I just got from, there's a YouTuber I got this experience from, as what they usually do as a family. They live in Spain, and this is what they do. So this is why I just got that whole talk from. So it's not as if it's my personal experience. So this is an idea for you, right? So if you know you do not have so much to say about a particular question, you can add more things to make it more extensive, right? To make it extensive. And then there's a popular method. There's a popular method that I've taught to many of my students. It's called the Ppf. It's called the Ppf method, especially for this part 2. Please take notes. It is not for part 1 or part 3 of the speaking test. This is just for the part 2. So what is this Ppf? The Ppf method is using the past, present, and the future. So when you ask to talk about, for instance, you ask to talk about your favorite shop, right? So you can begin with the fact saying that, well, I have a number of favorite shops in my city. For instance, in the past, my favorite shop when I was a teenager used to be the ABC shop, which was just across my street, my childhood home. It was a place where I loved going to get snacks and some junk food with my friends whenever we go out, whenever we take walks on our streets, or whenever we play around in our community. However, when I got into the university, in the campus where I stayed, there was this particular shop that had all the essentials that I needed to run my life in school. It afforded me the opportunity to get my hair done, my nails done, and my grocery shopping. It was actually a mall which was designed for students. So it was a convenient spot to get all the things we wanted. Aside from getting food items, we could also get services as pertaining our looks, such as getting our hair done and other beauty services that students would love to do. But presently, being a married woman, having kids and a family, a home to keep, my favorite shop happens to be the XYZ shop, which is a very big store in my residential estate. It is blah, 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 blah. So do you get the point? I have been able to apply that Ppf method in this question. Remember they just asked me, oh, let me reduce your nephew. I can see your nephew in the background. So remember they just asked you your favorite shop. But I've been able to talk about the shop that used to be my best shop when I was a teenager. The one I liked when I was in school. And then, but okay. And then my current situation. Now, there's a correction I need to make. I did 2 pasts.
You didn't do the future.
Thank you. I just realized now that I did 2 pasts. Yes. So let me integrate that. But it doesn't matter. See, let me tell you. Remember I said there's no right or wrong answer in your speaking test. Remember I said that. So this one can still go. If I've spoken like this during the test, it's still fine. I've been able to speak extensively, right? But since I'm trying to teach you this particular method, that is why I'm going to do that correction. I'm going to do that correction because I was trying to teach you like past, present, and then future. So I spoke about past, present. Then I can go ahead, I can say, okay, well, in the future, there's this particular shop that I've heard so much about. I went to their website and I saw the wonderful reviews that many people in my city talked about. Like many people in my city have given wonderful reviews about this particular shop. So it's an organic store. They sell lots of organic food. And with the current state of things in my family, we've been talking about eating healthy, trying to make our food supply more rich. So I've always had it in mind that we need to start going to that new shop. So I think in the future, seeing that it's our target option of food, I think it will happen to be our favorite or our best shop soon as a family, because they happen to offer what we're looking to integrate into our family diet. So do you understand? Can you see? So this is something you can learn. And there's something else, there's something I'm going to teach again. A better way to watch those videos. You know that channel I sent to you? Speaking success with kids. Something like that. A good way to work with that channel is whenever I hear him talk about a particular topic, you can go to those questions, that particular link, Ielts Liz. You know, I sent that link to the group, Ielts Liz. You can see where she wrote speaking part 1 questions, speaking part 2, and then speaking part 3 questions. Then after watching a video on a particular topic on that channel, you can then particular topic he has spoken about and try answering them yourself. Do you understand? So the speaking test is speaking practice is actually practical. So when you hear people speak on a certain topic that you want to develop vocabulary or concepts on, when you hear them speak, then you yourself go back and then practice on your, speak them aloud. If you have someone that can ask you the questions, give it to the person. If you do not have, record yourself or stand in front of the mirror and watch yourself speak or hear yourself speak. So that is how you can improve on that. I hope you've been following. Nana, I hope you've been following what I've been saying.
Yes.
Okay, so this next question I'm going to ask, I would want to, so if you feel that when you're planning, if you feel that, oh, these questions, I do not have much, apply the Ppf method and work with it and see how it goes. Okay, let's move on to another question. Any other question?
No question.
Okay, so okay, so describe a book you have recently read. Let me send it to the group now. Describe a book you just read. Let me send it to the group so it's better. So I just screenshot everything like that. Have you seen the question?
Yes.
Okay, so wait for you. In a minute's time, start speaking. And Queenette, you've been coming and going. I don't know. Is it your network?
It's my network that's been dealing with me. I've been showing me shaky.
So I hope it will allow you to answer one or two questions here.
Hopefully, yes.
This question is difficult. I haven't read any book lately.
It's not difficult. Nothing is difficult. You've been communicating in English, so nothing is difficult. It's just the fact that it's an exam. If that the examiner just walked up to you like you are just sitting down, you seem stressed now. You're a designer, right? What if the examiner just came to you and came to your shop and started asking you about a particular dress you want to make, and people start discussing? You start fidgeting and everything. You'll be talking now. So just look at it that way, that you're having a conversation with like any other person. So let's do this. It could be from a movie. You can just form anything if you've actually not read the book. It doesn't matter. So start speaking.
I'm still preparing. Give me 1 minute.
Okay, Queenette, you've seen the question, right? I think you should start. You should try this one out. Just go ahead.
Okay. So since you said I can use a movie instead of the book, so do I just go ahead?
No, as in you put it in the context of a book. Just imagine I'm an examiner and I ask you this question, but maybe you've not actually read the book. So
30 seconds.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I read a book called Untitled How to Get Away with Murder. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I read a book
I
titled
can hear you.
How to Get Away with Murder. So the lead character in the book, she's a lawyer, and she's a lawyer, and she has a set of 100 level students in her school that are studying law. So on the first day of the class, she taught them about the topic for that day's class was how to get away with murder 101. So she now gave in the book, she gave them a scenario of she was in an abusive relationship or in an abusive marriage with her husband. So her students came to her house to visit her. So the students saw that her husband was hitting her. So one of the students tried separating her from her husband in that story, and one of the students mistakenly pushed the man, and he fell off the rail, and the man died. So her and her students, they tried to cover up the murder. They wrapped the man in a nylon bag, and they discarded the man. So the man, after that scenario, she now called 911 and started asking for help. That she's looking for her husband. Her husband is missing, and all of that. So her husband's family started coming around, both friends and all of that, to ask about the husband's disappearance. So she now acted. She did the scene in a way that they burnt the man's body and discarded even the dust. I don't know if that's okay. That's the end. I think I just jamming everything together.
Okay, the child. Okay. So you're actually gisting us. See, you like movies and you can gist. You like gisting. That's what I can tell from all this thing. So okay. Let me tell you. Okay. That is a good one. Okay. So one of the things that would make what you're describing more interesting. Okay, you said you read a book. You said the name of the book, the title. That's fine. That's very good. I like that about where you were starting. You mentioned the name of the book. Now, another important thing you should also mention, if you're talking about a book, music, or a movie, it's very nice to talk about the type. What is the genre? If it's a music, what is the genre? If it's a book, what type of book? Is it fiction or non-fiction? So I think this particular book you spoke about is fiction, right? Queenette, her network. I think her network took out. So I think this book that she spoke about just now is a fiction. Yes, it's fiction. It's not real life, right? So
Yes.
that's one of the things you should take notes. Okay. Queenette, so I was saying that you should also, I said if it's a movie, tell us type of movie. If it's a music, tell us type of music. The genre of the music. Is it hip hop? Is it maybe, for instance, I asked you what's your best music? do you enjoy listening to music? Something like that. So you should say the genre of the music. Is it hip hop? Is it classical? Is it R&B? Is it Afrobeat? Blah blah blah. Then the movie, you should say the type of movie. Was it a comedy? What they call it? Comedy, rom-com. I think that's a shortened from a romantic comedy. Was it an see? It's not an action movie. That's not what it's called. It's called thriller. Thriller is when it's a scary movie or a horror movie. You can say, is it an epic movie? Is it a folklore? Like this Anikulapo. Am I pronouncing it well? Anikulapo, right? Is that the name of the movie that is trending on Netflix? Now I pronounced it well, right? So that one is a folklore movie or what? What are we going to call it? Queenette, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, you can type on comments if you are having issues with
Yeah, I was
anything.
saying that I think it's also fictional. It's a fictional movie because nobody will die and
Okay,
wake up,
that's
but it has a little bit of romance as well.
so that one you can say fiction when it's a book. You can say fiction or non-fiction when it's a book, or you can also say self-help. Okay, I'm just telling you terms that can work with movies, books, or music. You
And both.
understand? So I think from what I saw, it was. I've not seen the movie, but reviews have been flying here and there. Like people have been using it to create content and all that.
Yes, I can hear you.
So from what I saw, I think it's a folklore. A folklore is more like a Nigerians, like what we used to call like a story, tales by moonlight kind of setting. Queenette, is that what do you think? Have you seen that movie? Okay, let me type. I want to check something and now I'm coming. Just give me a minute. Folklore. I want to check the definition and pronunciation.
Call it.
I want to be sure that okay. Folklore. The traditional beliefs, customs, and stories. Yes, stories of a community passed through generations by word of mouth. So I think that Anikulapo movie is a folklore. Maybe a story that have been told with mouth, then they try to put it in that setting. So, or we can call it an epic. Is it epic? Or epic? Let me check epic. Epic. Epic movie. Let me see. Epic. See me. I'm just typing on the laptop, which I'm just using as a stand instead of the phone screen. Epic. A long poem. This is a poem. Okay. I say epic movie. Let me see if there's anything like that. See me. Still typing on my laptop instead of this phone. Epic movie. Okay, epic films are a style of filmmaking with large scale, sweeping scope and spectacle. Okay, we can't call it an epic film. Epic film could be all those Legend of the Seeker, something of Thrones. What's the name of that movie? Battle of Thrones. Nana, tell me, am I alone here?
I said game.
Is it Battle of?
I was on mute.
Yes, Game of Thrones. Yes, Game of Thrones. Yes. So Game of Thrones is an epic movie because it covers, like, you see how they show like an army, a large area, battles, movement, from showing all those sceneries, all those things. That's an epic movie. So the book she talked about is a fiction. It's fiction because I think that story is not real. So take note of that. When you're talking about a book, a movie, a music, take note of those things. Tell us the title. Tell us. You can even tell us the author. Tell us the author. Then you can then tell us when you read it.
Or who?
Yes, see, a director is a common thing that people look out for in a place like US. But I think it's recently that we Nigerians have started taking cognizance of directors that produce certain movies, right?
Yes.
Before we just
I noticed that they do that a lot, especially if the movie is great. If you can anyhow
yes,
movie, nobody
Americans
bothers
very
about the director.
the director, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So now I like the fact that is now becoming a thing in Nigeria that's let me say Nollywood, right? That directors that are doing well are now having a name for themselves and all that. Because in the US it's actually a thing, like people like give directors they give them their flowers. They give them the honor that is due to them, right? So it's a good thing. Okay. So I think you should have gotten an idea of what you should be talking about. So let's do that now. Let's answer the question from your end now.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So go on. I'm listening.
Recently, I've been reading a lot about books that are based on fictions, whereas as a teenager or when I was much younger, I would normally read storybooks. But now I read books that are based on fiction. The most recent book that I read is Anikulapo. It's based on fiction, and I'm trying to remember a word. Anyway, it's based on fictions, and there were two lead characters in the book, a man and a woman. The book itself is based on power and greed, and it has a bit of love story in between. I enjoyed reading the book quite a lot because I learned some few lessons. What else? I'm lost. Can I start again?
It's
Can
fine.
I
You
start
can
again?
start again. You can go on.
Okay.
Okay, let's go.
Wait.
Okay, go on. Go on.
Hold on. Okay. Recently, I've been reading quite a lot of books that are based on fictionary stories. But growing up as a child, I enjoyed reading storybooks, and sometimes Bible stories. But the recent book that I read is titled Anikulapo. It's based on fiction, and it has two lead characters in the book, a man and a woman. The story itself is based on love and greed. The man suddenly appears and he has nothing, and then people liked him and they sort of helped him at the beginning, and then he started becoming rich, and all of a sudden he was having eyes for one woman or the other, and it got to a point where he sort of fell in love with the queen of the community that helped him, and as a result, got banished from from the community. He was even beaten to death, but then miraculously he woke up with the queen by his side, and they both ran away to another community where they got favored, and they happened to have a power that could raise the dead, and they were doing miracles. And then suddenly he started having, just like his old self, he started eyeing other women, and it led to conflict in his marriage. At a point, he had more than one wife and all sorts of things. So the queen, who's like the first, his first wife, got upset and took his power away from him. And at a point, he didn't have the power anymore, and he lost the power. So I enjoyed reading the book. At the end, I learned quite a lot of things in the book, and I'm looking forward to other great books from the same author in the future. So yeah, that's it about the book that I just read.
Okay. Okay. Quite interesting. You're able to speak for more than 2 minutes, and that's fine. So there was something I noticed. You said he was having eyes. So I think that's like you are trying to say that he picked an interest.
Yes,
He picked an interest
in other
in a
women.
certain person,
Yes.
or he had eyes, or he had eyes. He had eyes. So the collocation there is not having eyes. I think it's just a
Okay.
Nigerian parlance or something. You're having eyes for
Okay.
somebody, but the collocation is to pick interest,
Oh, okay.
or is
Started taking interest in other women.
a certain person or a thing or a certain thing. So that's fine. And okay, a typical question that the examiner can ask you, a further question can be, okay, so um what how's it called? What sort of people would enjoy it? Or who would you recommend this book to? More like the age group.
I
What
would,
age group would you recommend to read such book?
okay. I would definitely recommend this book to adults, adults, um, people that enjoy fictions like myself. I would recommend this book to who else? Definitely not kids, because some part of this book were a little bit too explicit for children, so it's for adults basically.
Okay. Okay. So okay, that's fine. That's better than you're getting better. So let's move on to another question. The other question there didn't come out like the nice if I was able to screenshot everything at once. Okay, let's talk about daily routine. Okay, describe the time of the day you like. You should say what time of the day it is, what you do at that time. Let me send it here. Nana, where are you? Seems she left because of her network. Queenette, can you take this question? Oops, what's going on with our network? Hmm. Hello. So you went out at some point. Even Nana herself is not here. So can you take that question? What's going on with network? Oh.
Okay, let me get that block.